guys might remember this little experiment right here, where I managed to essentially distill zinc from zinc oxide. Still jazzed about that. I love looking at those little zinky crystals in there, which you may or may not be able to see. But going back more specifically to the question of that little flame that came out of the end of the tube, it turns out that I inadvertently rediscovered the gasification of charcoal. I knew about the gasification of wood. It was been a big deal on YouTube, I think kind of among the prepper circuit, and it was pretty common during World War II when there was difficulty getting petroleum products, but I didn't know you could gasify charcoal. It turns out you can. Charcoal's got about 30% of the gasification potential of wood. So I think what we'll do is explore that a little bit today. Before we do that, by the way, when you clean it up a little bit, it's actually not too bad. And I've been exploring how to make tops. This needs to still be cleaned up a little bit, but I'm going to give these things a long time to dry, harkening back to the episode of the exploding balls. We'll let them dry for a good long time. I'm also going to try something called slip casting, which we'll get into later. So anyway, let's look at our setup for the gasification of wood. So when you compare my experimental setups, they're not that different. I've decided to go slightly larger with my gasifier project. The one with the tape I'm going to fill with wood. And what I'm going to use for my source is this, just waste from my it's just waste from my saw. You don't have to powder it. I'm powdering it because I can get more fuel in the same space since it's a small vessel. Most of the videos on YouTube, people don't powder it. And here's my source for my other retort. I'm going to do these at the same time. My understanding is that, and that's just charcoal that I broke up. My understanding is that they should combust differently. Charcoal apparently produces less hydrogen and maybe some more methane, and the wood apparently produces more sort of complex hydrocarbons. So at least in theory, the charcoal gas should burn with a blue flame or even an invisible flame if it's hydrogen. Methane burns blue, and the wood should burn with a yellow flame. I've already weighed this stuff out. I can get 90 grams of charcoal into the charcoal retort and 105 grams or something of wood into the wood retort. I'm thinking to collect in a vessel. This thing has a maximum diameter of 36 inches, and that's about a 400 liter capacity. My guess is that at least the charcoal, I just can't imagine it's going to produce enough volume to fill a 400 liter bag. If it does, okay, great. If it doesn't, we'll just light it on fire and watch it burn. So let's go outside and heat it up and see what we can do. Before we begin, let's take a look at our equipment. Here's the big can. It's holding up okay. It started to lose some of its insulation. Bizarrely, down there in the bottom, you can see that black ring. That is uncombusted cardboard from the sonotube I used to cast it. That's weird. Anyway, we're going to go ahead and use this. I'm not going to use air. I just don't need that kind of heat, but it's convenient, so we'll cook in this. So I've got her fired up. As I said, I don't really need hot. So I'm just cooking with charcoal, so I'm close to the house. I'm going to go ahead and let that catch for a little bit. I'm going to drop those things in there and give it a little more juice and let it go. The one with the tape on it is wood. This one without the tape, the blue tape, is charcoal. I might have to give them some air just to get them going, because this thing is, as you know, kind of a funny shape. It doesn't naturally draft well. I'm not sure the fire can be self-sustaining without a little bit of additional air. I guess I better do that. The whole balloon thing may not work here, not because of the iron, because as you know, iron's a rather poor conductor of heat, but because of the gas. The gas might just be too hot for me to use the balloon technique, particularly because I had to add another air on the other side. So now we're talking about, you know, the kind of heat that will melt copper. I'm going to go ahead and try to put one of these balloons on and see if I can capture that gas. It's most likely just going to croak on me. Probably just going to immediately burst. It's funny, this bag has some gas in it. You can see it's opened up a little bit. Of course, look, there it is. But it's clearly denser than air. I think that's probably mostly water vapor. This one's got a little gas in it too, just not nearly as much. Charcoal took off quicker, but then again I had heat on the charcoal side quicker. Trying not to immolate my balloons here. If I do, I'm just going to light the stuff. About 10 minutes into it now. I've been intermittently applying air in order to keep the flame burning. Kind of like my relationships. Haven't actually seen the balloons truly inflate, but they're certainly capturing gas. The charcoal balloon clearly took off faster than the wood balloon did, but that may have just been placement of the air, because I started the air on the charcoal side. But I intermittently put the air back in, and I seem to be getting gas out of both. If I can't actually collect gas, then I will bag it and just try to lighten the damn things. But for right now, I'm going to give it one more shot on collecting the gas. Well, my stopwatch seems to have stopped, but I think we're about 15 to 18 minutes into this. As you can see, the wood is producing more balloon inflation than the charcoal. I was hoping to do this quantitatively, but honestly, I really can't. And I'm pretty sure that that wood balloon's about to let go, because it's definitely starting to get really, really hot. So, knowing that's going to happen, I think I'm going to take action. You got to pull some kind of stunt like this, make sure you're protected. Yeah, I would say that that was probably a flammable gas. Let's try this one. Funny, I'm getting a jet on this one. See it right there? That was fun. I'm not even sure you can see the charcoal flame. It's there. It's very subtle. It's a very small flame and kind of blue, as opposed to the wood flame, which is obviously got a lot more sort of complex things going on in it. This is just a very quiet, sort of gentle flame. Really not sure if you can even see it. I'm going to bring it really close and hope you can see it. Just a little baby flame. Well, I think we'll go ahead and let this stuff burn out and take a look at it inside after they've cooled off in there. The gas production does seem to have dropped down. At least we got a nice explosion. That was fun. Here's my 2 crispy balloons, and boy do they stink. There's the neck, and here is the hole on this balloon. It's pretty melted down here. I think this is probably the charcoal balloon, and the reason I say that is it's clean inside, whereas this one, it's got some kind of grotty oil in it, and it's hard for me to believe that the charcoal would produce this oil and the wood wouldn't. So it's probably some grotty stuff that was driven out of the wood. Stinks really bad, needs to go in the trash. I didn't push these retorts too far. This was really just sort of playing. Looks like I made charcoal, puffy charcoal. And it's an interesting question. It's obvious that there's still gas content in there, because I didn't just reduce it to ash. Let's go take a look at the charcoal retort. Here's my charcoal retort. Guess what's in it? There's charcoal in it. I don't know what totally gasified charcoal looks like, but I suspect that's not what it looks like. I think there was probably a whole lot of energy potential left in there, but again, I was just playing. So what can we say about this? Well, what we can say for sure is that the type of gas that comes out of wood and charcoal is different. What I was reading was that charcoal tends to produce a lot less hydrogen and more methane than, well, at least wheat, and I assume wood is more like wheat, although I don't know that. And it was fairly clear that the stuff that was coming out of the wood was a lot more flammable / explosive than the stuff that was coming out of the charcoal, which made for fun and lost me some hair on my forearm, all to the good. Don't really plan on doing any more gasification projects because that was really just playing around, but it is handy to know that I managed to do it. It's also handy because now I got these dandy retorts, which you never know, they might come in handy in the future. So those things are going back on the pile for reuse. I think that's all I got for you guys today. Please like and subscribe, tell your friends, come on back. I'm actually going to start drywalling in the bathroom. I might give you a couple of updates on that, but in general, don't really have a whole lot of bathroom content coming up, but I've got some more talking to do about melting stuff. Really think I need to get back into the groove on copper, give it another try, and maybe make an alloy. So have a great day.